So the question is, how do I stop bigger, stronger opponents from beating me? And the tempting answer is, well, that is what jiu-jitsu is. So you learn jiu-jitsu. But to dig into it a little bit more, the thing to keep in mind is if when we say a bigger, stronger opponent, and that can be replaced, keep in mind that can be replaced by a stronger, faster. They don't have to necessarily be larger than you. They might just be really strong and really fast. How do I beat somebody whose physical attributes outweigh my physical attributes is really the question if we try to capture it in all its forms. So there's a couple ways to approach this that are useful at different times and for different reasons. The first is, how do sorry, back up. So this person that's contemplating this is bigger or stronger or faster than some of their training partners. How do those people beat them? Is just one question to start with, because it helps you to remember that bigger, stronger, faster is not absolute. It exists relative to your physical attributes. There is the tallest person in your whole school. There is the strongest person in your whole school, maybe for a couple different areas, etc. So the problem is not so much that they are physically stronger than you or faster. It's that your physical attributes do not scale with their physical attributes, and you can't make them scale, because physical attributes are linear at best in the way that they progress if you're lifting weights and getting stronger and doing sprints and things like that. But mechanical strength is not. Mechanical strength is why we rely on jiu-jitsu, is because it allows us to very quickly outpace physical strength and speed and things like that. Mechanical strength being the use of leverage. When we talk about leverage in jiu-jitsu, or just with humans, we are talking about the use of the bones and the skeletons as levers. Okay, so the leverage of jiu-jitsu is the use of the skeleton, and it is the use of the skeleton from me to stop or overcome the use of my partner's skeleton. So the way that you overcome someone who's bigger, stronger, faster, first is to treat every training partner you have as if they were bigger, stronger, and faster than you, but they were not exercising the full capacity of their strength at certain times. So if you have a training partner who is a little bit smaller than you, a little bit slower than you, etc., don't just maul them completely because you might be able to, and then turn around and wonder why this person who's a lot larger than you is just flattening you into the ground. What you want to do is you have this person who you're a little bit stronger than, a little bit faster than, and when you train with them, you are trying to treat their mass and skeleton as if they were this larger person that could crush you very easily. What that does is it makes you go from, oh, I'm doing this and that and the other thing, to how are my bones holding this person in place? Or how are my bones moving in order to make them fall? Or how are my bones and joints stabilizing themselves so that I can pin this person and not get exhausted? And then all you're doing after that point is scaling up. So if you go with this person who is smaller than you and not as strong as you and slower than you, and you have this practice of just putting your attention on what your bones are doing, what your joints are doing, and then you just scale that up a little bit, and you give them 0.1 kilograms more strength, more ability to lift that much more mass. And you scale that up, and you scale that up, and you scale that up, and you scale that up. And eventually you're going to have them scale to the point where they're matching this big, strong person you're dealing with. The point is, when you're training to beat a bigger, stronger, faster opponent, you can't outright beat them, because you have to develop the skill to overcome their physical attributes. And it's going to be difficult to develop that skill with that exact person, because they're going to develop the skills with you. They're going to learn what you're learning as you work together. It doesn't mean don't train with them. What it means is train with everybody the same. Okay? So if you can easily crush somebody or throw them around, don't do it just because you can. If they weighed twice as much, could you still do the thing that you're contemplating doing? If not, then that's a good time to adjust, and you have the freedom to adjust, because if it got really bad and you were in a really bad position, you know you could work your way out. So I suppose the way to summarize that answer is, how do you beat someone who's bigger, stronger, and faster than you? Well, it's to first comfortably and easily work with somebody who is weaker and slower than you until you know exactly what you're doing and can translate that across to someone who is slightly stronger than you or slightly faster than you, and keep scaling your way towards the person whose physical attributes greatly overcome your own. And that is actually what you end up doing on the whole with jiu-jitsu as you go from white to black, and then from black belt to the rest of black belt, which is the rest of your life and really where you do most of your learning in jiu-jitsu. It's senseless to continue to branch out in all these different directions. At the beginning of jiu-jitsu, it seems like that's what you need to do, but really jiu-jitsu is a process of unifying your movements so that whatever stands in front of you or is in front of you in training it's just a person with problems you can solve, because your jiu-jitsu is not this specialized set of techniques that only work on this specialized group of people. Instead, it's an ability to create a strong structure with your skeleton against anybody you go with, and that will knock over all of the different pins that are in your way. And bear in mind that this question, how do you beat a bigger, stronger opponent, is the central skill set that you develop in jiu-jitsu. It would never be necessary to use jiu-jitsu if your physical attributes allowed you to overcome another person. Martial arts in general is the use of the mind or intelligence to create an advantage that can overcome physical attributes. If you want more videos, please click below to subscribe. If you want to dive in deeper, you can click here to get a free video seminar I did of one of my favorite sequences from standing to submission. And if you have any questions or anything you want to see, please leave it in the comments below.